Today I'm going to do a review of the new Jaden Smith album, SYRE. This is Jaden's newest full-length album since last year's CTV2, an album where he showcases a good flow, decent bars, but overall very mediocre rap. And I went into this album expecting the same thing, but I got a bit of a surprise. I'm not saying this album's a masterpiece or great in any way, but it's not bad. This album starts out strong with 4 individual tracks that spell out the word blue. I'd say these are some of the best tracks on the LP, and Jaden's flow on these tracks, especially on You, has an obvious Big Crit influence, which pairs nicely with Will Smith's vocals on B. The instrumentals are also pretty original, with a bit of rock sprinkled in. However, I can tell that these tracks don't really link up that well. What's the point of having them spell out the word blue if they don't even have like a similar message? The songs that come after this have a very good flow, but pretty underwhelming instrumentals. They seem almost skeletal, and like not enough effort was put into them. But I soon realized as I reached the middle of the album that Jaden is incredibly inconsistent. None of the songs even really have a message that ties them together, and the energy level that he showcases seems like he's about to fall asleep. Like he must have recorded this song Batman at 3 a.m. It sounds like he's mumbling the whole time, and he's not even going for a mumble rap style. His energy level is so low that I can barely understand him. His lyrics on this track are also kind of an adaptation of that awful Drake song Jumpman. And coming back to the whole energy level thing, seems like that's a really big problem for the second half of this album. For example, his singing on the track Fallen is just incredibly boring, and it's really hard to trudge through. But I will say the song Icon is probably my favorite one on this entire album, because it's got a lot higher energy level, which just comes out of nowhere, and it has it's a really good instrumental with a nice vocal slice added in. There's not much else to say about the rest of the tracks. They're all basically the same, with Jaden seeming like he's about to fall asleep, just a skeletal instrumental. It's pretty mediocre. Throughout this album, Jaden is speaking to a character named SYRE, especially on the title track at the end, where he's just having a big long conversation with him. He seems to be describing his struggles as a child, not knowing where his place in the world is, and feeling misunderstood. And I think this SYRE character is really just himself, having an internal conflict. It's not that hard to figure out. It is one of his middle names. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you were born into a rich family, you can't have problems. Obviously, Jaden never grew up in the hood, and he was definitely born into a rich family, but he can have his own issues. However, the whole narrative is still a bit confusing and hard to follow. Finally, I have some suggestions to make the album a lot better and a lot more listenable. I feel like if more effort and time was put into the beats, it would be a lot louder, obviously, and it would be a lot less difficult to trudge through. The flow and energy could also be improved on to make the LP so much more enjoyable. And I definitely think that Jaden shouldn't have tried to go for a concept album on his first full-length album. He should have made it a little bit shorter, probably around 12 to 13 tracks, and just made a couple bangers for people to jam out to, and not try to tell a narrative, because he's obviously not that good at it. Thank you for watching this review. I would definitely recommend this album. I can tell Jaden put a lot of time and effort and passion into this, and he really cared about how it turned out. So I think it's worth checking out at least the first 9 tracks or so. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and leave any criticisms you have in the comments, and like if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys later.